win a championship. So obviously, where we are now isn't good enough. I don't know what a shakeup looks like or what changes uh, will be made or could be made. But obviously, as is, it wasn't good enough. We came up short against a team without their starting point guard and shooting guard. Will Barton didn't play, and Jamal Murray didn't play, and we came up short. So obviously, where we are isn't good enough to win the championship if it's not good enough for us to get out of a first round series with two of their best 3 or 4 players not on the floor.
The Portland Trailblazers have been in the media all offseason, and to be honest, for all the wrong reasons. I mean, after just losing in the first round, like you saw in the clip earlier, to a team that was missing its starting point guard, its basic star point guard, and its starting shooting guard, and you lost quickly. To be quite honest, in the first round, the last thing you want to hear throughout the offseason is rumors that your star player, your franchise player, arguably the greatest player in your franchise's history, has requested a trade. Now, what you would like to hear after that is your star player come out publicly and address these rumors and let everyone know that this is not the case. He plans on being here, but he also doesn't know what his future here is going to be. I think it's safe to say that moving forward, Damian Lillard will be a Portland Trailblazer. Uh, Not expecting him to be traded this season. To be honest, I'm not even expecting him to be traded next offseason. But what I am expecting is the Portland Trailblazers to start making some big moves and big trades, uh, including trading guys like CJ McCollum and maybe Yusuf Nurkic if you plan on keeping Damian Lillard around long term, or else they're going to find themselves rebuilding very, very soon. The Portland Trailblazers had a quiet offseason as far as making moves go. Everything loud about them was about Damian Lillard trade rumors and would they trade Ben Simmons for Dame? Would they trade Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum? The only real free agent moves they made were Cody Zeller, Ben McLemore, Tony Snell, things that are not in any way, shape, or form going to help Damian Lillard, going to push this team over the top, or is going to entice him to stay around longer. Now, some people may say about the Portland Trailblazers that last season they dealt with injuries. And they did deal with some injuries last season, which may have derailed them a bit. But when it came to the playoffs and they went against a team that was injured and they weren't, there were no excuses. They lost. They got beat fair and square, plain and simple. Now, you could say keep this core around maybe for one more season. Who knows what will happen next year? But the West has so much talent. I can't see this team competing the way they expect to. I think this team has reached its ceiling. I feel like the ceiling for this team was the Western Conference Finals 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, actually. Sorry, where they were swept by a hurt Golden State Warriors team, and they blew a lead every single game. And to be honest, that wasn't even this team. It was the Portland Trailblazers, but it wasn't this exact team. I think it's been proven that the Dame and CJ combo backcourt tandem is not gonna succeed. I feel like they should have been moved on from CJ, but I understand them maybe wanting to keep it around for Dame's sake. I understand how close Dame and CJ are, and loyalty is big to Dame, honestly, as most people can tell. They made another bad move last season in the middle of the season, trading Gary Trent Jr. for Norman Powell, a real lateral move which didn't make much sense. In all honesty, I mean, you did that because you didn't want to pay for Gary Trent Jr., but you traded Gary Trent Jr. for a player you were going to have to pay for it anyway. And now you went and paid a Norman Powell, who is getting paid more now than Gary Trent Jr., I assume. And you did that to keep him around. But in all honesty, that doesn't help your team. Norman Powell is forced to play small forward now next to Dame and CJ, where people have complained, hey, that backcourt's too small. But now you add Norman Powell, who's 6'3", and oh my God, it's like playing the pre-Monstars. Uh, I think it would have been best for them to keep Gary Trent Jr., have him play shooting guard next to Dame. Feel like he was a perfect fit next to Dame. And trade CJ McCollum for a bigger wing player, a bigger small forward player. I'm not sure who that could have been, but I feel like they could have got something done, even if you had to add on some extra leverage like draft picks and things as such. Um, the Portland Trailblazers did manage to land a Larry Nance Jr. from the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 3-team trade, which was centered around Lauri Markkanen going to Cleveland. But to be quite honest, that isn't going to move the needle for the Portland Trailblazers. Does Larry Nance Jr. help that team? Absolutely. He's a versatile wing, can play some 3, some 4, and even 5 if need be. He's versatile. He can stretch the floor. He can play defense. But that's not enough for this Portland Trailblazers team to be taken serious as contenders. Now, me personally, I don't take them serious as contenders. I'm sure there's some people out there that do, but majority of the consensus is well aware of this team's limits, and I feel like they've reached them already. I'm not sure if this team is able to get out of the first round with all of the talent that's based in the Western Conference right now. A lot of the Western Conference teams are actually improving, getting better, adding talent. You look at Utah Jazz, who added Rudy Gay. You look at the Los Angeles Lakers, who have revamped the team completely. The Denver Nuggets are hurt this season. The Los Angeles Clippers are hurt this season, but they're still adding things, you know. The Phoenix Suns are continuing to get better. My Dallas Mavericks didn't add much, so I'm not going to speak on them. The Golden State Warriors are going to be back in full force this year. So things are just getting worse for the Portland Trailblazers, man. I'm not seeing a scenario where Damian Lillard is there long term. I appreciate what he's doing, the whole loyalty thing, not jumping ship, you know, running from the grind, as he said. But at some point, I think if any superstar in this league will get a pass for requesting a trade from their team and moving on, it's Damian Lillard. If there's anyone, it's Damian Lillard. But they did actually make their biggest move this offseason was probably signing new head coach Chauncey Billups, which was surrounded by some controversy, which I'm not going to talk about here. Don't want that kind of attention, but maybe a culture change is needed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Trailblazers fans and people who weren't Trailblazers fans were upset with Terry Stotts and his coaching decisions or lack thereof. Chauncey Billups has been a guy who has been in talks to be a head coach for a while now. A lot of people have wanted him to get a chance. He now has it in Portland. A point guard coaching Dame, maybe that'll help a lot. You know, I think Chauncey might be a much more defensive-minded coach. Like I said, maybe that's a culture change that the Portland Trailblazers need. So I would say give it at least one more season. You have to, after getting a new coach, a new season or two, see where things go, and then move on accordingly. Maybe the Portland Trailblazers, after a while, are ready to move on since they see nothing is going on and ready to rebuild and trade Dame somewhere for pieces. Who knows? Portland Trailblazers fans won't be happy with that, I'm sure. If you are one of those Trailblazers fans, let me know in the comments down below if that's something you will be okay with. What's your expectation for the season coming up? Let me know down in the comment section below. Leave a like on the video, hit subscribe, and ding the notification bell so you all know when the video talking about your team is dropping next. 30 Days of Hoops. Make sure you check out, man. I got to remember what side this thing is on. Look, I think it's on the left. 30 Days of Hoops. I have a playlist for each video that has been released. If you've missed them and you just want to go back and watch some, the link will be up here in the video somewhere. But until then, I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, man. Peace.